myself. For myself. This is my world. I'm living in a world I created for myself. This is my. I'm living in a world I created for myself. You can't live in my world. I'm living in a world I created for myself. My world. I'm living in a world I created for myself. I create my world for myself.
Yes, Grand Risings, one and all. Welcome. No?
Don't watch those pretty dresses that they wear, those fancy makeup all over their face, those ruby diamonds to cover their neck, those fancy handbags to match their dress. They will rob and cheat you. They will make you wanna cry. They will rob you. They will rob you. Don't let them tell you any mystic lies. It's just one of their poor alibis. They'll take you out for a ride. They'll give you that same old fancy lie. They will rob and cheat you. They will make you wanna cry. They will rob you. They will rob you. They will rob you, yes. Da 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 da. Don't watch those pretty dresses that they wear, those fancy makeup all over their face, those ruby diamonds to cover their neck, those fancy handbags to match their dress. They will rob and cheat you. They will make you wanna cry. They will rob you. They will rob you. You don't trust none of them, no walk with them. Watch them on their move. You don't trust none of them, no walk with them. Watch them on their move. Long time ago that you don't love me, not anymore. But I'll keep on loving you just the same. I won't cry. I won't cry. I won't shed a tear. I keep on loving you year after year. Even though you left me, I'll keep on loving you year after year. Even though you left me, I won't cry. Sometimes I'm worried over you, yeah, yeah. Sometimes I'm worried over you. At times I don't know what to do. Darling, you give me heartache and pain. In thought of you, out with another man. I won't cry, I won't fear. I'll keep on loving you year after year. Even though you left me, I won't cry. Oh, I won't cry. Oh, I won't cry. Darling, please. I won't cry. By the rivers of Babylon, where we sat down, and there we were, when we remember Zion. I'm not sure anymore just how it happened before. Places that I knew were sunny and blue. I can feel it deep inside. This Rastaman pride. I've no fear when I sing, and I say it every day. Every Rasta is a star. Every Rasta is a star. Who can deny that you and I and every dreadlocks is a star? I have walked the street alone. All my life I've been on my own. Hated and despised. No one to sympathize. But there's one real thing I know. You can say I told you so. You've got a bright place in the sun where there's love for everyone. Every Rasta is a star. Yeah, yeah. Every Rasta is a star. You can deny that you and I, every dreadlocks is a star. Is a star. Every dreadlocks is a star. Every dreadlocks is a star. Yeah, yeah. Every dreadlocks is a star. Gotta believe me. I said every dreadlock, every Rasta.
Is he on?
I'm not sure anymore just how it happened before. Places that I knew were sunny and blue. I can feel it deep inside. This Rastaman pride. I've no fear when I sing, and I say it every day. Every Rasta is a star. Every Rasta is a star. Who can deny that you and I and every dreadlocks is a star? I have walked the street alone. All my life I've been on my own. Hated and despised. No one to sympathize. But there's one real thing I know. You can say I told you so. You've got a bright place in the sun where there's love for everyone. Every Rasta is a star. Yeah, yeah. Every Rasta is a star. You can deny that you and I, every dreadlocks is a star. Is a star. Every dreadlocks is a star. Every dreadlocks is a star. Yeah, yeah. Every dreadlocks is a star. Gotta believe me. I said every dreadlock, every Rasta is a star. Every Rasta is a star. deny that you and I, every dreadlock is a star. Every dreadlocks is a star. You better believe me. Every dreadlocks is a star. Every rasta is a star. Yeah. Every dreadlocks is a star. Gotta believe me. Yeah. Every rasta is a star. Yeah. Every rasta is a star, yeah. Who can deny that you and I, every dreadlocks is a star, is a star. Every dreadlock is a star, oh yeah. Every rasta is a star, you gotta believe me. Every rasta is a star, oh yeah. Every master is a star. Every master is a star. Oh yeah, can you believe me? Who can deny that you and I, every deadline is a days are coming, my friend. Better days on the way now. Better days are coming, my friend. If they on the way now, no more crying. Going to see the sunshine again. No more tears of sorrow. Going to see the rainbow. Coming up, no, my friend. Better days.
Grand Risings family, Grand Risings, welcome.
A lion is a lion anywhere he go.
GalaxyFOE.net.
It's the nature of man.
You said that we done with you yet?
The earth man. Rasta man. Haile Selassie the first.
Rise up, rise up, rise up.
What is a Rasta man? The man we set the plan. The man we touch the street and love and bless up everyone. King of him go on the land. Must the conquering lion. Selassie walk first and if no follow after man. Not just the way the Rasta step. To how the thing connect. The girls them sign the Rasta instantly get your sweat. And now me hear some boy afraid. Like fryers in a net. The Rasta intellect it gone past the internet. The Rasta man no skip a beat. The Rasta man unique. We not go take defeat. The mission of we complete. Through the humble and the meek. The victory a go sweet. The Rasta man a step it up and yard in the east. And watch the wicked man a bun. And there's no place to run. The Rasta beat the get a drum until we finger numb. Me say my lyrics is my gun. No boy can't tell me none. Me live we get the one to Rasta daughters and son. So me say again, a lion is a lion anywhere he go. Lion is a lion anywhere he go. Rasta man a Rasta anywhere we go. Rasta man a Rasta man anywhere we go. Me say a lion is a lion anywhere he go. Lion is a lion anywhere he go. Warrior a warrior anywhere we go. Warrior a warrior any. What is an empress? She rise above the rest. She keep herself clean and in her house and not no less. She bring me joy and happiness, charisma and finesse. Though yet she clothe her skin like just a king will see her flesh. Empress no beg no friend, real empress no bend. And in her mansion it no carry many men. Tell you 24/7, routine repeat again. The lioness no fall back a fashion and trend. Some little girls we know them place and get this in your ears. Me tell you, not everything you see you have to embrace. Empress no watch no face and keep the fire blaze. Remember King Selassie I the ancient of days and them fi know how so you grow. You never stoop below. No boy out a road no have your name like Papi Show. Real empress carry a glow. And just the way you flow. You're pretty like the colors in a Jaja rainbow. Me love the empress do the march. Me empress very hot. But true me say empress that no mean she carry lot. Preferably but probably not. I got to tell you what. Anytime you diss me empress then you all forget about. So me tell you say a lion is a lion anywhere he go. Lion is a lion anywhere he go. Rasta is a Rasta anywhere we go. Rasta is a Rasta anywhere we go. Me say a lion is a lion anywhere we go. Lion is a lion anywhere we go. Warrior is a warrior anywhere we go. Warrior is a warrior anywhere we go. Boy, the Rasta man a lead the world. Burning fire. Boy, that's the power I run the world. Yeah. Boy, King Selassie I run the world. Blame. Consuming. Rastafari.
If it was easy, then everybody would do it. Everyone would be able to do this thing, not true? As we rise on this grand rising, beautiful morning, we give thanks for life, for life itself. Boy, yesterday was a day I had to take for myself, and you know, although those who were looking for me, I had to be in the moment for myself. So it's not apologies, but you know, I'm just making you know, say that everything is balanced and everything was in order. And those who attended my cousin's 9 night, blessings and blessings, peace and blessings to all of you. Okay, Galaxy family, Galaxy family, grand risings to each and every one of you. We are here to de-brainwash you. I opened the segments this grand risings with the first off. The first off. The first of many achievements that we have achieved in time. They stated within that clip that I played there, the first engineer or civil engineer, right? And then I asked myself, so that means if they're saying that's the first one through their institutions. So who were the ones that were constructing the cities, the kingdoms, the empires prior to what is going on for everybody out there, sir? Who and what did they say or acknowledge built and constructed those institutions that were built and I say built, that evolved prior to their, this is our first civil engineer. And I'm sorry, but why is it that we just accept the labelings, the academias, over the achievements that we have established over centuries? Because even now, they're, I don't know, what can I call them? Their feats of engineering pales into insignificance because of the achievements of those who had constructed their monumental constructions hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of years prior. And even to the state of that they do not even acknowledge that it was a certain type of people that actually construct. They prefer to say it was some outer national type of entity that built these constructions. What type of foolishness? I know you mean. The fact that it was built in the spirit of Ubuntu, each one teach one, reach one. You are. What's it? What do we say? I am because we are, and because we are, therefore I am. So if you're looking to build anything or whatever, we are moving together as one unit. You look at the minuscule compared to most humans, the minuscule ant, strength beyond the comparisons of humans, and the unification of work ethic that is totally 100% for its colony. You have a colony of ants, and they will be able to move a mountain as they move together. They work together. Yeah, that's what they would be able to do. And yet, you, so-called superior being on this planet, you can't even speak and work with your own fellow human beings. This is absolutely pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. We have our young people, and I am so glad that we have our young people who are moving and forging ahead. Their educational prowess far outstrips generations prior. Far outstrips. And I would say I am kind of excited for them, because they will see and act beyond which the system is trying to impose upon them. There was yesterday, I was there, and in the class, and there was one of my classmates, and she was relating how her son is a gifted individual. Computer science. And she was stating that he's already been offered positions within companies, and he hasn't even finished school yet. So they obviously see the potential in this young man. And then she was relating, like, when he was a young man, when he was a young child, that he was able to turn on computers, or override the codes of computers in the home. And what it was is that, and what she figured out is that this young child, I will tell you the age in a moment, this young child would be sitting there watching her operate her keyboard, and then he figured out how to actually get into the computer, not just the once, but time and time and time again. In other words, he learned how to do this. And she was like amazed. So what she did was she capitalized on his curiosity. Instead of chastising the young man. And then she got these flashcards at the time, right? I'm sure that they still use them now, but the flashcards were there, and he was able to accelerate the learning process. Why? Because you were stimulating his interest not only the interest, but also the let me see what I'm going here. Hold on, just a moment, people. Just a moment. I'll see what this is. All right, okay. Yeah, he was able to stimulate the interest, stimulate the creativity of this young man. The young man is only 15 as we speak right now. And remember, he's been offered positions because of his prowess already. Already. The time when he initiated that program of turning on the computer using his own initiative, he was only 12 months old. 12 months old. The engineering process had already started. And then she related how this young man, this is the thing. And I know say a lot of you adults wouldn't even come with this type of conversation. A lot of us adults would not come with this type of conversation. And she was saying, he was saying to his mother, cash money is over. Cash money is over. He said that within 5 years, there will not be any access to cash. It will all be digital. All of it will be digital. Can you imagine this? Can you imagine a 15-year-old speaking in that term? And his foresight of what he knows about computer technology. And he's seeing and observing how the development of society is at this particular time. And he's making that conclusion for himself already. And he's relaying it because obviously he is seeing what is happening directly within the realms of his interest, his forte, which is computers, programming. He's seen it at the age of 15. This is why I am so adamant that our children need to be operating at that level on a regular basis. Don't make it just the one or the few. That should be the majority of our standard of achievement. I love the fact that our young people have the access to the learning, the information, and they thrive in exhibiting their excellence. They thrive in that. There is no reason why, and I'm not going to bring that conversation into it. There is no reason why, apart from if there's any form of serious disabilities, because even when I was doing attending my examinations yesterday, there were those in that program that had difficulties in processing the exam, so they were given extra time. They were given extra time. And the beauty of this is that when I was in conversation with them after we had all the examinations, we discovered that They were extremely successful, probably more successful than the average person who's out here got a degree, because they had their own businesses. They were they were independent. They were doing that course because they wanted to do something to enhance their progress. Hence, that's why I was on it as well. They saw that even though they probably are financially comfortable, they knew that something else was missing and they needed the assistance to get to the next level. Kingman, Isis, good man. Yeah, man. Bless up, man. Yeah, man. They saw that they needed the 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 parts of the puzzle that were missing. Were they of my age? Some were. Some were even more mature than me. But we was all in there doing our examinations of after 5 months of intensive um, studying and preparation. Life is a continuously evolving entity in itself. Why are we contented with just being the subservient workers for, yes, the subservient workers for some institutions or working environment? And yet, at the end of it, we know that we are going to have insufficient support system to support us into our mature years. I'm going to say it like that. Mature years. Why are we falling for this time and time and time again? This is why I am so adamant that our young people they need to be shown and taught massive survivor skills. And there was another person who was there as well on the same course, and she was indicating that she was saying that I want to have my children, yes, I want to have my children at home with me as they come into their senior school days. I want them to learn life skills and the reality of life in preference of being institutionalized and how did she put it? She almost said brainwashed. She was saying that they need to learn the reality of life. And again, another person who found herself personally who had challenges. When I say challenges, dyslexia. And we're there side by side doing the same exam, right? Gaining the same results. No one more than the other. And she saw that she had to take her children out of the schooling system, which is in the UK, and it's a private school that she's sending them to, and she needed to teach them herself because what they were being taught within the school system was not sufficient enough for her child to even match what she has set as a legacy. And she had, if I estimate, I think it was about three or four different companies. Why are we still allowing this system to suppress us, hold us down, and hold us back? Why? I know I've spoken about this with others, that our standards need to change. Our standards need to evolve beyond where it is right now. And there are some beautiful, excellent young children out there which are living examples of what they can achieve. We need to be in the wake of those young people there, and the new evolution of our education and our standard of life. Welcome, 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 my sister Sandra. Good night,
Greetings.
good evening, good morning. How
Good
you, however
morning.
you
Good
want it.
morning. Good morning.
All
Grand
right,
Rising.
yeah, man. You can put up your volume a little piece for me, please. If you're capable of doing something there.
Doesn't go any further.
That's good. That's good. It sounds sounding a lot clearer and better now. Right, listen. As you know, I've been doing my course over the last 5 months now. So yesterday
Hmm.
was exam time,
Okay.
and as we do, as you know, with most things, hold on. As with most things, right? Said that when we come to the end, that's when everybody free off and let themselves down now and show you who and what and what.
Mm.
It was amazing. There was apparently the class that we had was the biggest that they've ever had to go through that period of training,
Okay.
right? There were 68 of us in that class.
That were
Right?
there at the end.
Yeah. And
What did it start with?
huh?
What was
It
the
start,
first?
I think it started with just over 80, right?
Okay.
So that
So
was the big,
80% went through
yeah, yeah.
or finished on the last day, turned
Yeah,
up at the
they were
exam.
they were there at the exam at the last day. Right?
Out of curiosity, you're all mature students, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Was it the more mature the student that stayed on, or was it a mixture?
It was a mixture right across the board. Right
Okay.
across the board. There was one young man, and I was so proud of him as well. I was so proud of him. This young 27-year-old man, and I'm looking at him now. I kept slapping him on his arm, and I said, "You see, you as a young man." And he's looking at me. He goes, "Why do you keep slapping me?" And I goes, "Because you're young."
That's how we used to communicate back in the day.
Yeah, I just looking at him and yeah, I have full love for him, but why he's a young man, and I know that he's got the rest of his life ahead of him. You know.
Mm,
And I said,
mm,
"Wow, okay then, all right."
mm.
You know. But like even though I'm just saying that the standard, because we've had this conversation between us many a time, and you have an idea of where I would love for us to be heading towards.
Mm.
I don't know if you share that sentiment itself, but we need to raise our standards of expectation. We need to
Mm.
celebrate the achievements of our young people as well,
Yes.
right? I think that is our main failing at the moment, is that okay then, we've got children who are produced having A levels and everything, like recently,
Mm.
that there's a lot of them that received their results
Mm.
for their A level education. And congratulations to all those who have done well,
Definitely.
all those who even
Congratulations.
attended,
Mm.
and wherever it is where you are, and that's where you go, because there's been many a man who starts at the back of the field and
Mm.
then in the front. So don't watch that. Just work with what you got,
Mm.
right? So
Mm.
anyway, so the standard of education, I feel we need to change a lot about. what we're teaching our children, and what the expectations of our children are,
Mm,
right?
mm,
Because there's so many examples. I mean, recently as well, at the beginning of this year, there was a young man who was uh, elected by his peers that
mm.
was children of school age, right? They elected him as the young mayor of
Lewisham.
Lewisham,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That young man was was home educated
Mm,
by his mother, and I think she has another 4 children as well,
mm,
right? That young man, home educated, and then he went out and campaigned around all the schools for him to be the young mayor of Lewisham. And
mm,
they put the vote in for this young man to be the young mayor of
mm,
Lewisham.
mm,
Yeah. And
mm,
I thought to myself, that is a serious achievement, but it shows what can be achieved
mm,
by those who put themselves out there and forward,
mm,
you know,
mm,
just like what you're involving yourself with now in Jamaica,
mm,
right? I would look at every child there, and as far as I'm concerned, every child has the opportunity, and I would expect every one of them to be at degree level
mm,
between the age of 16 and 18, and that is what I would like to see,
mm,
right?
mm.
Don't wait till you're 25 or 28 to go and to be able to say, oh, I've got my degree. No.
So I'd caveat that
Mm,
in so much that there's nothing wrong with being mature and getting a degree.
mm,
What I would like them to do is have a conscious decision as to why they've not got it sooner,
mm,
rather than doing a catch up. And if they are catching up, then kudos to them, because they
mm,
recognize that they want to, and they've got a purpose and a dream.
mm,
So if I think about the athletics that I watched yesterday,
mm,
and the British or Great Britain and Northern Ireland runner, full-time accountant, and age 31 or 30 something, I think it's 30 or 31, getting through to the quarterfinals or the semi-finals of the World Athletics Championship.
Mm.
So is it too late to start? I'd say no, but
No.
you need to have the drive and the determination to get where you want to go.
Mm,
You need to have the support. So that means mentally you know you want it, but you need those around you. You need to be in an environment whereby you'll get that support. So if I roll back the conversation just a little bit, and I think about a young man I was speaking to as part of getting involved. So he's born in the UK, and he was just telling me about his school experience. He's still at school, and he says that the teacher kept on picking on him. So I was questioning him as to why did he think that, what was behind it, and the answers he was given gave me the impression it was more the teacher's agenda rather than his. And
yes.
he's a bright. He's
That's what most
bright.
of the youngs do. Yeah.
He strikes me as bright. So I kept on asking, did you used to finish your work early? Did you always put your hand up? Yada, yada, yada. And he sometimes yes, sometimes no. There was nothing that he said that was striking. So it'd be interesting speaking to his mum, just to establish his mum and dad, to establish whether or not his perception and the reality were one and the same thing. But the decision that the mother made was to take him out of the schooling system. And to
Yes.
homeschool him for 2 years. He says he's going back into another schooling system this year, September, next month. So again, it would be interesting to speak to the mother as to why he's going back. But what I commend her for and commend the family for is that when they saw that there was a problem, they just didn't leave their child in there to sort it out with them and the teachers. Sometimes it works.
Mhm.
But sometimes you need to make the hard decisions.
Yeah.
And being prepared as a parent, a guardian, or someone in that child's life that has the authority, to say, yeah, I'm going to take them out. And in taking them out, I know that I can do a better job.
Yes.
I know that I can provide better knowledge, a more balanced knowledge and skill for that young person than what the treatment that they're getting in the current education system.
Yeah.
I can nurture their ability. I can provide them with the knowledge and skills that they need to be a productive adult in the society that is throwing things at them left, right, and center.
Absolutely true. We've got our brother Akram on the line.
Greetings, brother.
From Grand Risings.
Grand Rising, brother Akram.
Yeah, Grand Rising, Sister Sandra, and Grand Rising to you, brother Aston. I'm sort of getting this because I came in a bit late, but you were talking about the situation of an education field that you were in with some others, and these were adults who went into a certain class in order to learn and other things like that. Is that right? Am I right in what you're saying?
Right. The one that I'm actually was doing, right, is a life coaching, right? And with that is where I would be able to support others, right, with making life decisions. It's an enhancement of this program and a service that I would like to develop as well. Well, no, I'm not going to develop. Okay. Right.
Yeah. Okay.
But the conversation that I'm bringing or started is that when I was speaking to the other participants in that course, how many of them saw the value, like I do, right, in higher and further education, but they were doing it for themselves, and not only for themselves but for their families, their children as well, right? And their decision was obviously to say the system or the schooling system is inadequate for what they saw that their children required. So they took it upon themselves to make those changes, like with the flashcards, removing their children from the school to do some from home education, and taking the responsibility, just like what our sister Sandra has just said. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that it's a mixture of a lot of things, because some parents are educated themselves so they can take up that challenge to do that. Many are not. Many parents themselves have difficulty reading, writing, or things. Then they probably know that the child needs an education. Like, for instance, my mother said that her parents took her out of school, and so she never really considered herself as an educated person. But she always knew that she wanted her children to do well, to be educated, so send them to school. And as I said, that was one of the reasons why I was here, because I left school early. And, at 13 in the Caribbean, I was kicked out of school and I started working. But me as a person, I always had a determination to do well, or to, and
self-motivated,
for myself. And the thing is that, so she sent me and brought me here. I came here at 14. Again, I left school at 15 because the situation at home, because my mother had been married and the man that she had married was not a very good man, and I just didn't want to be in the home. So although my father was there, but my father, he had married to someone else, and because I've never ever lived in the house of my father, and so although I always had he was my hero. I was always close to him, and things like that, and so forth. And he was a very educated man himself. But as I said, I left school at 15 and started working. I left school Friday and I started working. I've always worked even until now, except when I was sick. I was out of thing. But as I said, I always knew I wanted to do well personally. And as I said, fortunately, when I left school, I started working on the ships. Again, as I said, although it was on the boat, there was only two of us, actually, the captain and myself. So I was always second in command. But the point is, I learned certain skills through that time.
Exactly. Yes.
And as I said, because, as I said, I was in that position, always looking to be, because I learned navigation and so forth. So when the captain is sleeping, I'm navigating the ship by myself. So
no autopilot. No autopilot.
No autopilot. No, well, as I said, I have to be doing navigation, because he's got the ship and I've got the ship in my control. And I was in my teens. I was 16, 17, 18, 19 years of age. But I sailed for 6 years, right? Until I went into the bigger ship. So, as I said, in those days, this is back in the 60s, and I had white people under me because I was second in command, and so forth. So they had to learn things like that. So, but at the same time, as I said, 7 years later, I left the sea, and I came to land because of the situation. And again, I started working in the factory. And what happened is that I was still looking for something. And then I went and learned a trade. I was always opening the papers because I'm looking for something better. Always looking. I have to improve myself, what a better job and so forth. So I look in the papers and those days to see where can you get good money. And there was people going to Saudi Arabia to work, and the big money, you could see the big money that they were getting, and so things like that. So I went and did welding. Right? I took up welding. Unfortunately, the information in those days was not like it is now. I mean, it was scant because, as I said, when I left school, I wanted to be a carpenter, a joiner, like that. But everything they wanted me to in the 60s was go to woodworking.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It was not about going and getting an apprentice and learning the trade that I wanted to do. It was about woodworking. And I don't want to do woodworking, so that's how, as I said, I ended up being a sailor. And so therefore, I'm still looking at the papers, turning over the papers because I wanted to improve myself. And what I did was, as I said, I went and did a course of welding, with a standard welding, British standard welding. But again, it was not properly explained to me about City and Guilds, the higher standard of welding.
Yeah.
It wasn't until when I finished the course and everything and started to work, then I started learning, wait a minute, I only had British standard and I really needed, if I want to go to Saudi Arabia and so forth, I needed the City and Guilds level, a higher level of welding.
BTEC and other things.
Yeah, right. But again, as I said, by that time I come to learn, I was not really, welding was not, although I passed my courses and things, I had a nervous hand, so I was not really good for welding in a sense. You understand me?
I know. Let's say your puddles wasn't even.
No.
It's a welding term. It's a welding term.
And so So again, as I said, I went and I was working in a company, and it was called Russell and Russell, and they was doing pipe welding, which is what and they sent one young man there to go and study, on a course. And I said, why didn't you send me as a course? Because I wanted to improve myself and so forth. So they didn't send me. And anyway, what happened is that company, I don't know if you know what that. I worked on one of the tallest buildings in London then, which is the NatWest Tower. Right? I built most of the fire dampers, the things. It hasn't burned down yet, so maybe they do work because
it just hasn't been tested yet. That's what it is. Don't worry, they're gonna come knocking on your door soon. Don't worry about
that. Yeah, So I did a lot of those things, and that building also there was a lot of problems with it because we had to do the frame for the bathrooms and other rooms and things like that in that building, and every day because we did make them to the specifications, and then they had to come back. And
yeah,
because
I recall when they were building that tower there, right? That they had challenges because no one had really built those constructions yet. So in other words, what they started up and their intentions was not necessarily their ending product, right? It was all on the drawing board of how they would like it, but in practicality, that is not how it actually ended up.
Well, as I said to you, because as I said, every we made the frame, and every day the frames come back there the wrong size, there's this and that, and we have to redo them and things like that. So probably what you're saying there is very much right, because as I said, somehow something was wrong, because we make them to the specification that came down on the in front of us, and then this. So anyway, as I said, I did that, and what happened is that I was earning money at the time, but I was earning less money than when I was working on the boat, because I said to you, because of my position on the boat, I was earning very good money, and sometimes because the company that I used to work for, because I was working on the docks, and at those times in the 60s, I was this was in Ipswich. I was the only black person working on the dock side, and then one of the black guys later on heard about me, and he inquired of me, how do you get there? Because he wanted to sing as well. And he went on. I think he also became the captain of one of the boats, because I had left, and he continued, and he actually became a captain of one, for a long time. You see. And but anyway, as I said, I soon left that, because what happened is I was still looking to improve myself and my wages and so forth, and because as I said, when I started, the wages for men was about £7 a week, and here 7 years later, it went up. Wages went up to about 20 something. Well, again, it was about 20 something, but as I said, I used to make more, because the company that I used to work for we used to do piecework, and then I used to do more, so I get, so my wages always was higher.
Yeah.
But as I said, I still continue to look, and then that's when I started in the minicab. And coming back to what you're saying about working for yourself, because what happened is that before I left the ship, the company that I was working for promised one of the guys that was working, one of the captains I was working for, that when they have a new ship, that they would give it to him. And he always said, I want you to be my side when I do get that, because he always liked me, he always wanted, like me, he always educate me and so forth and things like that. And this guy was like a jack of all trades, master of none, I mean, one day we break down at sea, and he did whatever he did with the engine. He brought the ship in, you know, instead of 4 cylinders, he brought it in on working on 3 cylinders.
Mm-hmm.
You know, from what he really did. So, but I'm saying that taught me and opened up my eyes that you're just a number working for
absolutely,
company.
Mm.
absolutely,
You see?
absolutely.
Because when the ship came, they gave it to a stranger, and they didn't give it to him.
Yep.
Okay.
You understand?
Yeah.
And that, look, you're just a number. You know.
Listen, I've seen man, an experienced man, dead on the job, on a Monday, by Wednesday, there's somebody else doing that job, like nothing had happened. Right.
Exactly. You know?
Right.
So that gave me a awakening that I need to develop myself, right?
Mm.
And that's how I came to start. Okay, I'm looking for more work, and I started doing minicab. And then, wait a minute, I'm doing minicab and in those days, and what happened is I'm saying, wait a minute, I'm working, I'm earning more money in the minicab than I'm doing the welding, because here I'm on.
Okay.
I'm saying, well, you know, I need to do more of this work than that work, right? You know.
Exactly.
You know? And then from there, what happened is, I'll tell you how I got into the black cab business. One day I done a job up to East London, you know, far up in East London, past Leighton up there. And as I come across the roundabout of Wick Cross, this guy hailed me. You know, I don't know why he stopped me, because he was probably desperate. He was far out there. And because most times black cabs don't really work out in that area. So he probably saw a car coming and stopped me, and he said, okay, he wants to go down to Earl's Court. And I work in Hammersmith. So wait a minute, I just dropped off up there, and then I'm now picking him up and going down there. I'm saying, wait a minute, is this what these black cabs, how these black cabs make money, man? You know, they drop off and they pick up, because, you know, in the minicab, the office, you have to sit down and wait for the office.
You have to wait for the office, yeah.
Right? You know? So, boy, me better go and do this black cab, you know, because I mean, this thing, I can earn money here, you know. And that is a
job until you finish. When you say you finish, it finish.
Well, exactly. You know, I went into the office and I tell this young man, started talking about it, and then this young man says, well, you know, yeah, you can. How he gave me the instructions of how because he started with the knowledge, but then he had stopped. And what happened is then he said, okay, look, this is where you go. You go up to Penton Street, you apply up there, and so forth.
Penton Street in
right?
Islington.
Yeah, and so that's how I started on that situation, right? And anyway, now he decided that he's coming back, because he had started and he stopped. So now he's got company, because I'm now you know, we can call out and study together. And he came back and started to do that, you know, and then whilst I was doing that, because I know how to plan, I said, you know what, I've got a plan now. I can because I can see myself working in this black cab. I can earn this amount of money, and you know, I'm going to be able to work 6 months, right? And then 6 months in England, I'm going to go home for 6 months, right? You see, because in '73 my father died, and I really had this thing that, look, I'm not going to stay in England all this lifetime, just working in England and so forth, and because he worked for 20 years, and then when it's time to go back home, he didn't make it. He never saw his mother again. And I said, that's not going to happen.
You see that? I've got many a story around those type of things. Sister Sandra. Sister Sandra.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Now you're here. You're hearing the journey. You're hearing the journey. I hope that you pick up on the gems in that. I know that you picked up on the gems in there. Right. Do for self. Step up. Always seeking. Yeah. How does that relate to you and what your purpose is as it stands right now?
So for me, it's life throws you the curveballs. Sometimes you catch it, and sometimes you stay on that merry-go-round and you keep thinking, woe is me. But if you catch the balls, you can then learn something about that element of life. And if you're not happy with it, you can take a conscious decision to do something else. And as Brother Akram was saying, there was some dream, some desire, some need, some want in order to make the change. And he saw opportunities and he took the opportunities as they arose. So for me, it's a case of seeing an opportunity. So what do I do with the opportunity? Take it, roll those dice and see what happens, rather than living with the if'a, coulda, woulda, shoulda. It's seeing the possibilities. So coming out to Jamaica, seeing the possibilities, looking at the financial education, seeing the possibilities, looking at the coaching, writing the book, seeing the possibilities, and not ignoring them and thinking, I'll do it tomorrow, or I'm not good enough, or someone else would do it, and when they've done it, then I'll follow behind. No, it's seeing the possibilities and rolling with it. We don't always know what the end game is, but if we don't take a step, we will never get anywhere. And in many cases, as much as, and if I think about what the athlete said, and even the one that won the heptathlon.
Oh, the heptathlon, yeah.
She said that she
from
saw
Liverpool,
the
young
dream.
woman from Liverpool.
Yeah. Catherine Johnson Thompson, KTP. She saw the dream. She was the only one, her and her team, who saw the dream, but they went for it. And I would say that all of us have the dream. Question is, do we go for it? Are we prepared to take that leap of faith and go for it? So in terms of myself, and like I said, coming over to Jamaica, I remember sitting down with so I've been coming to Jamaica for years, since 1977, coming over for the odd, sometimes in a year, 3 times a year, sometimes once a year. My mother, unlike, had the opportunity of realizing her dream and coming to Jamaica upon retirement and living out here over 20 odd years. So in sitting down on one of the occasions with my mother, she asked a question: would I live in Jamaica? And up until that point, I could visit Jamaica. There were so many beautiful things about Jamaica that I admired and loved, but there were so many disgruntlements I had in terms of living in Jamaica. Just not necessarily the pace of life. Well, sometimes the pace of life, going into a bank and spending all day. I don't blame going to any of the authorities and spending. This is even before COVID. The queues were long. Queues were always long. People are very laid back and thinking, okay, you're in a store, yeah, they're packing my bags, but yeah, they're taking a whole load. They're having conversations amongst conversations.
Yeah.
And there's this that element of life that I just couldn't get my grips to. But when my mum asked the question, the first response wasn't no. The first response that came out of my mouth when I considered it and considered all the elements was yes. So then what do you do with that information? Once you've got that, once you let that cat out of the bag, what do you do?
Exactly.
It's very similar, like Brother Akram, in terms of wanting to go for the knowledge, seeing the potential of being able to live in the UK plus live outside of the UK for half of the year. What did he do with that initial gem, that initial thought? He followed it through. So I've done the same thing. I followed it through in terms of I'm here now. I'll be coming back to the UK, but I'm coming back to the UK. Even before I left, it was more, I'm coming back to the UK for a holiday. I'm not coming back to the UK to stay.
So you just flip the coin.
Just see what the possibilities and the opportunities are. And I know that Brother Akram in the past has spoken about parts of Africa. So I've been before when I was living in the UK holidays. There's a number of countries in Africa that I've visited, and I'll go again. But I'll be traveling potentially from Jamaica if it's easier. If not, I'll land in the UK for 24 hours and then leave from the UK. But either way, not going isn't an option. So I'd say that we all have opportunities. The question is whether or not we have the faith or the courage in order to take those opportunities.
Yeah.
And have we learned enough in order just to take that first step?
You know, like, you know, I'm always like looking for a change right now. I feel that just like how life has challenged us, we need to challenge it, right? And this is why I'm speaking in the terms of like our young people, which is the foundation, right? Even for us who are supposedly in our mature twilight days, what can we do to even enhance ourselves to make the quality of life better for ourselves? Also for those who are in a position of where they're being challenged, how do we ease the pressure? Understand? So even for that as well, we have to know how to negotiate or to navigate those type of things. Yeah, life itself. Even as we speak, we may be speaking of things of where or changes that we experienced 10, 20, 40, 50 years ago, right? But that is what was necessary for us to do where we're doing in our life's journey now. Yeah. The thing is, if we stop speaking about those things and stop dreaming and stop striving and trying, that is when we will become stagnant, and that is when we will die. Right? Figurative and literally. Yeah. Because there's been many a person I've seen, right, that gets old before their time.
Yeah.
They get old before their time, and then all of a sudden they have to make an extra effort to get that momentum going. They have to make that extra effort, because if they don't make that extra effort, they're not going nowhere. They're not getting anywhere.
Yeah. Well, can I just bring in something here? You see,
Yes, bro,
as I said, on that journey to go to try to do the knowledge, right, is that again, sometimes how life interrupts you when you're doing things. So my uncle came along and he said to me, "Stan, how would you like to make 26,000 a year?" Right? I said, "Well, I already have a plan for that, you know, because I figured, well, in this, I haven't started the black cab yet because I was still on the knowledge.
Yeah.
But my plan was I was going to make X amount of money, and as I said, I was going to stay, you know, because that's the only place I can do the job. Work in England, make that money, and then go back home, and then you know, spend some time there and develop other business and so forth." And okay, I look at the idea that he had and say, "Okay, boy, this idea is a good idea." That was Amway. That was Amway that he brought to me. Right?
I'll try that.
And yeah, exactly. I saw the potential, but I don't regret. I mean, I was doing very well in the first part, but then the sort of thing is, it's not just yourself. You have to depend on others and what you can achieve, because you have to, you know, the more people you can bring in, the more people, the more that thing will be for you.
That's right. And you get that Mercedes.
Yeah, you know, but I started that. But but for me, that also gave me another level of life, because the point is going to the seminars,
It was an education.
It was an education. Made it successful.
Yeah.
Right? Listen to people who made it successful, pointing me in the direction of why they are successful, you know, and pointing me to books that I need to read. And I realized, hey, wait a minute, you know what? there's a different education here from what you got in school. You follow what I'm saying, right? Because now that lesson is not that these people are teaching you the Amway was not taught in schools.
Exactly.
You follow me? Yeah.
Right. You see what you're saying there? That is the gems what I took away just in the listening, it was just in the listening of those participants in that course. Right? And everybody there, and I'm gonna say, everybody turned around and they were amazed at what each and every one of us were involved in, right? And what we had achieved at that time, and it was kind of like because we were so intense in the program, right? That level of conversation never came up. It never really came up because we were so intense into the program. And now that we had come down the final exam, we was able to let our hair down, so to speak, and then have a different type of conversation, like what we're going to be doing, where we're going, what are we doing right now. And in that way, it was like, wow, this person's that person, this and that. It was truly an enlightening thing to just sit back and observe what was going on, right? And they were even amazed at what I was doing, and I'm thinking, well, I ain't doing that much really, but thank you.
Well, exactly, and that is, as I said, it was different level of education, and because, as I said, up until that time, I always think myself, I was lonely, because the point is that the people that I used to be talking with, because they didn't have that kind of vision that I saw the people in Amway had. You understand, right? I said, wait a minute, there's other people like me. You know what I'm saying? I didn't realize there's so many people that was like me that's ambitious and want to do things and improve their life and so forth. You see,
get around them.
Right. You understand me? Because I learned, wait a minute, I'm saying that is why probably many of our people are not going anywhere. And I come to learn that later, because I said, since then I've been able to encourage a lot of people to go forward, because many times people want to do things. And I remember there's a good friend of mine now, he just bought 3 properties in Zanzibar, right? And because he started doing the knowledge, I've encouraged others to do the knowledge as well after becoming a cab driver and so forth. But there are people who doesn't want us to be there, right? They would not encourage you. Hey, wait a minute. I come to this good thing and I'm saying, wait a minute, there's a good job here. So I'm telling other people, look, hey man, come and do the knowledge. I tell my cousin, come and do the knowledge, come and, and even his friend came, and then his friend used to call me, right? And just like we're talking now, talk to me for hours, saying, no, I want to do things, and everybody's telling me I cannot do this and so forth. They don't encourage you. That's one of the things I come to notice with many of our black people. They don't encourage you.
Sister Sandra, you speak onto that. You speak onto that.
So, part of 2 things. When you have a good idea or you see the vision, you need to move in a circle where others see the same vision.
Thank you.
Because the thing about the discouragement, and it could be sometimes your brother, your sister, your mother, your father, your best friend is not your best cheerleader. And the reason maybe is that if you are able to do well, it shows them up for not doing well. So they don't necessarily want to be your best cheerleader. So if you are in a situation where you're thinking, you're hearing the negative vibes, bar the fact that you're not going to want to jump off a roof, you're not doing something really crazy or really dangerous. And it may be really crazy or really, really dangerous, but are there others doing the same thing? If there are others doing the same thing, you find that crowd. You make those people be your nearest and dearest. You move. We say there's terminology in terms of guard your heart. But within that, there are other people that will come close to you and other people that will move away. So you're still going to love your mother, your father, your brother, your sister from afar. But they're not the ones that's going to help you to achieve your goal or your dream, because they don't have your vision. We're not all meant to. And I know, Brother Akram, you spoke about everyone's forcing you or encouraging you or prodding you to go into woodwork, and that wasn't what your jam was. So if it's not your jam to do what your friends around you are doing, step out of that circle, move to a new circle where people are all thinking like you. People have that vision. People have that goal, that desire. Because the worst thing that you will end up doing is staying with the woodwork and hating it and resenting it for the rest of your life. And you get to that point of retirement and you think to yourself, you see no vision because your spirit is already being killed. Because you've sat in a space that you weren't happy.
Yeah, so that was the situation. I said I had a very good education, but I'm saying this education by they don't teach you in school, and it then, as I said, the teacher said, look, if you want to be successful, associate yourself with successful people. Right?
That's right.
These are some of the knowledge they tell you. They give you a book that says to go and read this book, which is the knowledge of thinking big. The power of positive thinking. All these sort of books, and I listen to all these different speakers coming up one after the other. And their journey. One man was talking about his journey and said, "Boy, that man is like me. That man is me." He was a fighter. He was not going to let anything stepping down. He lost $10,000, and he said that $10,000 caused me to be a multimillionaire today. Because if I hadn't lost that $10,000, I would not have met that man who would have given me that guidance, so that I could be where I am today. And he said,
every way.
Right. He said, I have this on my desk. Because he was a mayor in a city in America. And he said, look, I have this thing on my desk that in every adversity lies the seed of an equal and better benefit. And he said, every day I look at that sign, I go into work. God, how could it be a benefit for me losing that $10,000? $10,000. I'm an idiot. How did I lose $10,000? He said, little did I know that because I lose that $10,000 would have led me to meet a man who would have then now point me into something that so sometimes when adversity hits me, I say, you know what? Maybe it's a good thing that this thing hit me, because maybe there's something else beyond that. Maybe it's to lead me to something else. You follow what I'm saying? So I never get dependent, right?
Right. My brother, we're coming to the last 5 minutes. I would like for our sister Sandra to do a brilliant summarization. Right? Go ahead,
go on. Yeah.
So if we think about life, and as much as we go to school, finish school, the thought process is you go to work, and then you die. It's not always as simple as that, and it's not always as straightforward, and the lines aren't always as equal or straight. So when we do get a disappointment as adults, that disappointment and that journey may actually be encouraging us to think about another path, and that path takes us closer to our purpose, takes us closer to where we want to be, need to be, like to be. So as the brother was saying in terms of Brother Akram, and we've all got a story in us, and that's the thing, we've all got a story in us, and the question is, are you going to be looking back at your story and saying, if I coulda, woulda, shoulda, or are you going to take the opportunities that are presented to you and work those opportunities and work within those opportunities to better serve those around you and humanity?
So true. Brother Akram, any last words, my brother?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, as I said to you, I mean, always thinking positive and as I said, I think we want to come back to this conversation because I said I'm seeing ways, as I said, you know, that we have to give our youngsters, and not just our youngsters, but even our older people, the understanding of their power that look, you can be what you want to be. I mean, you know, people coming out of prison saying, wait a minute, I can't get a job. Go and train yourself to be self-employed, be a plumber, something like that. And you know, you don't have to be depending on somebody to give you a job. You see what I'm saying? You know? Always look and say, well, what can I do to overcome the situation that I'm in? You know.
As
But so we'll have to come back to this because you know, I believe that in this sphere there is more knowledge that I can put through that surface. Because I said that's why I said part of the development of the African Cooperative Union is this, that we should be able to give people this type of education, that people don't think it's the end of the world because you've lost your job, because you can't get a job and all these sort of things, right? You know? So this is all part of being of the cooperative, where you mix with people who want to go forward, want to do things, and so forth like that.
I'm sorry, my brother, but I'm going to have to cut it right here, you know. I'm going to have to cut it right here.
Yeah. Okay.
It's been great. It's been great having you. Yeah. My sister Sandra.
Peace.
Au revoir. Au revoir. You take care. You take care now. Until the next time.
Till next time.
You're right.
Thursday.
Yeah.
Galaxy family. Until we meet again.
Okay. Peace. Be the journey.
Yes, right.